Oh my god. Jungkook couldn't contain his emotions when he met Taehyung. A rare moment that left ARMY speechless. There are moments when even the camera is not able to hide its frankness. One of them occurs when Jungkook finally reunites with Taehyung after a long time apart due to the busyness and schedules that separated the two friends who grew up together under the spotlight of stage lights. But this time, it wasn't just an ordinary meeting. The world seemed to pause as Jungkook stared at Taehyung's face, and his expression, he couldn't hide it. Oh my god, Jungkook really can't contain his emotions. One fan wrote on social media, after the video spread quickly in just a matter of hours. In the short footage, Jungkook is seen standing still, staring at Taehyung for a long time before finally hugging him so tightly. There were no words, no music, only the sound of restrained breathing and tears dripping softly at the ends of the eyes of both. ARMY around the world immediately flooded the virtual universe with hashtags #taekook reunion and #Jungkook crying again. What makes this moment even more jarring is the context behind it. The public has long known that Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship is not just that of group mates. They are like two sides of the same coin, different but complementary. They both embarked on the journey in their teens, enduring pressure, criticism, and demands from a merciless industry. They once laughed together, cried together, and sometimes moved away without explanation. When the camera catches Jungkook staring at Taehyung with teary eyes, it's as if all those memories come back in 1 second. Sleepless nights of rehearsals, pressure from the agency, those early days when they only had each other to cheer for. Jungkook is known as a figure who rarely shows his emotions in public, but this time, he failed to contain it. It was not an ordinary cry, but an emotional outburst from someone who had finally met the part of him that had been lost. Fans who witnessed the moment described it as a wordless confession. Jungkook, who has been known for his calmness and professionalism in public, was seen collapsing emotionally. He looked down, trying to hide his face, but his tears still fell. Taehyung, on the other hand, just smiled gently, patting Jungkook on the back softly as if to say, "I'm here." And that's when the world seemed to realize their friendship wasn't just a gimmick or fan service, but something born of hurt, struggle, and genuine affection. That an internal source in the Korean entertainment industry even said that the meeting was not actually planned. The two were present at different events, but suddenly met backstage. Jungkook, who had just finished performing, looked tired, and when he saw Taehyung's figure at the end of the corridor, his steps stopped. He stared, smiled stiffly, and a few seconds later immediately ran to hug her. The fan camera that captured the moment only recorded a few seconds, but it was enough to make millions of hearts tremble. Not a few argue that the moment was an emotional turning point for Jungkook. Over the past few months, Jungkook has often appeared more reserved and introspective. Many suspect that he harbors a huge burden both from the pressure of his career as a soloist and from longing for the simple times with BTS members, especially Taehyung. In various interviews, Jungkook has said that Taehyung is one of the people who understands him best without needing to say much. "Sometimes I just look at Taehyung, and he knows I'm not okay," Jungkook said in an old interview that has since gone viral. That sentence now feels much deeper, as if it were a harbinger of the emotional moment that happened that day. Meanwhile, on social media, the ARMY expressed mixed reactions. Some cried with emotion. Some admitted that they could not watch the video more than once. And others felt that the moment was the culmination of the honesty of two hearts that have been connected for a long time. Some fans even made an edited video with melancholy music, depicting the story of Jungkook and Taehyung's friendship journey from the beginning of their debut until now. The most interesting thing is how the short meeting actually opened up a discussion about the human side of big idols like them. Behind the glitter of the stage, they are still two young people who once supported each other in difficult times, who may have quarreled, moved away, but eventually found each other again. "It wasn't tears of sadness," one fan wrote. "It was a cry of relief, because finally they can meet again and know that they are still on the same side." Some netizens also highlighted how Jungkook's expression was so honest, without filters, without acting. As Taehyung touched his cheek and chuckled, Jungkook blushed, stared at the ground, then wiped away the tears as he said quietly, "I miss you, bro." That simple sentence, for many, is more touching than 1,000 sweet words. Because that's where Jungkook's most human side is seen. Not an idol, not a global superstar, but a friend who misses someone who was once a big part of his life. Korean media later reported the moment with a heartbreaking headline: "The meeting of two souls who lost their way and now meet again." Many people think that Jungkook and Taehyung's dynamic has always had its own magnet. They could quarrel, quietly move away, but somehow fate always brought them together again at the most emotional time. And sure enough, that night, after the meeting, fans present at the scene claimed to see Jungkook smiling again after a long time. It seemed lighter, more alive, as if the burden he had been carrying was slowly lifted just because of one hug from Taehyung. Perhaps that is the strength of a sincerely built relationship. No matter how far they go, there is always a place in their hearts to return. And for Jungkook, the place was probably always named Taehyung. Now, the video of their meeting has been watched millions of times and is still being shared on various platforms. But for many armies, it's not the number of impressions that matters. The most important thing is that they finally know that despite all the pressures of the entertainment world, the two young people who used to fight together still take care of each other, strengthen each other, and understand each other, even without the need for many words. And as the evening came to an end, one simple line from a fan echoed in the comments. Sometimes, the most sincere love is not spoken, but it's shown through the tears that eventually fall, because someone you miss is now in front of you again. That night witnessed that even in a glittering world, where the cameras and the spotlight never go out, there were little moments that were so honest they couldn't be hidden. Jungkook, who is known to be strong and calm, looks fragile for the first time, not because he is weak, but because his feelings are too sincere to be controlled. When the hug happened, time seemed to stop. The sound of cheering and the surrounding crowd suddenly faded away, replaced by an electrifying silence. Taehyung, with his gentle smile, seemed to understand everything without needing to ask. He patted Jungkook on the shoulder softly, saying something that couldn't be caught on camera. But from the movement of his lips, fans speculated he said, "I miss it too." That simple sentence destroyed Jungkook's defense. He hugged Taehyung tighter, his eyes closed, and his tears fell on his best friend's shoulder. The moment felt so real, so human, that many said that it was not just a meeting between idols, but a meeting of two souls who had lost their way and now found each other again. Armies all over the world couldn't contain their emotions. They wrote a lengthy message on social media, calling the moment one of the most heartfelt in BTS history. Many have come to realize that Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship is not just a close relationship between colleagues.